How's it going, everybody? What's up? My name is Chris. I'm here in the Seacrest studios. It's a wonderful Saturday. It's a special Saturday. I've got a friend sitting next to me here in the studio. Maya, how you doing today?
I'm great.
You're great. I would hope that you're great. And help me understand why you're great today.
Because Bryan Cranston is calling in.
Bryan Cranston is on your show today. That is amazing. Maya, well, that's all we need to say. Bryan Cranston's here. Take it away, girl.
Okay. So first of all, I can't believe that I'm actually talking to you right now. Thank you so much for calling in and taking the time to talk with me. I am incredibly starstruck.
Oh, well, don't be. We're all just trying to have a good time, and as I said to you before, Maya, I watched some of your interviews, and I really enjoyed your spirit and your friendliness and kindness, and your journalistic integrity, and looking in and asking important questions.
Oh, thank you. So my first question for you is, when was the moment you first knew you wanted to be an actor?
It was a very seminal moment for me. I had gone for 2 years of college to study police science. I thought I was going to become a police officer because I was pretty good at the work. But I was still underage to join the Los Angeles Police Department, which was the plan. And in college, the second year of college, I took an acting class as an elective. And in it, my job was to kiss this pretty girl in this scene. And I thought, well, that was a lot more fun than police science courses. And I thought, I couldn't wrap my head around the concept that in that class, at that moment, my job was to kiss this pretty girl. That was what I was supposed to do. And I thought, this is unbelievable. That never happened in police science. So I kind of got confused about what I really wanted to do as opposed to what I thought I should do. And I allowed myself to kind of escape. I hopped on my motorcycle. This is in the mid-70s. And I was only 20 years old. And I hopped on my motorcycle and I rode across the country for a couple years. And I would get jobs here and there and pay for it. And I was on the road. I'd visit relatives and stay with them for a while. And it was in the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, where one fall day it was raining so hard that I had to seek shelter. And on a slab of cement and a picnic table and 4 posts and a little roof, I stayed for 5 days because it never stopped raining. And it was a strange period, but sometimes in those cases, you find yourself able to start fantasizing and imagining because you're stuck. I used to do laps around the picnic table just to get some exercises, push-ups, and it almost felt imprisoned, because I couldn't really leave. And it was at that moment I had an epiphany, and I thought, I really should probably pursue something that I love and hopefully become good at it, as opposed to doing something I was good at, but I didn't love. And so that was my credo going into becoming a professional actor. It's like, okay, I really love doing this. I better learn how to get really, really good at it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. So you have been in so many different projects that I love, that I couldn't narrow it down to just one project to ask you about. I knew I didn't have time to ask you about all of them. So I was wondering, of all the characters you've played, which one have you related to the most?
Related to the most. I guess the question is, what character was most like me to begin with? I would say I did a very silly adult comedy a little while ago called Why Him? And that character was a married man who has a young daughter, and who I cherished, and I didn't like the boyfriend she chose. That was basically the plot of it, the setup to it. And I am married. I have a daughter, and it's not that I didn't like the boyfriends my daughter has had, but I was basically playing me, and it was a tremendous amount of fun to do that movie. It wasn't as challenging as other characters that I've played, like Dalton Trumbo or President Johnson, or even Walter White, for that matter. But that's probably the character that was already most like me.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So what role has been the most challenging for you to play?
I think it's probably President Johnson in the play All the Way, and then the movie of the same title. There's a tremendous amount of responsibility that comes with playing a character who actually lived and existed, and whose relatives are still alive. And you have a tremendous amount of source material to read, to get through, and to understand the essence of that character. Lyndon Johnson's daughters are still alive and well, and I spoke with them a lot about their father and their mother. Lyndon Johnson's lawyer and his speechwriter and the things like that. There's several people who knew him very well. And so the trepidation for an actor is hoping that once you agree to do something and you don't quite know what it's going to bring, you're stepping into the unknown. You hope that this character will come into you and you can really understand it, but you don't really know that to be true. But that's the life of an actor. We step into the unknown all the time. So I wasn't unfamiliar with that. But I think Lyndon Johnson, in all his complexity, his ambition, his fears, all told, that was probably the most challenging character.
Oh, wow. What role has been your favorite to play?
I think I have two favorites. I'll pick one comedy and one drama, and they're both television series. So the comedy was Malcolm in the Middle, where I was playing the character of Hal, who was the dad of the family. And I love that guy. He was a really sweet guy, very human, a lot of fears, which led to a lot of opportunities for comedy. But he also he adored his wife, and madly in love with her, which I thought was a good thing to show on television, to see a married couple who are not fighting with each other all the time. They're actually in league with each other. So I really adored playing him for 7 years. And then the drama would be Breaking Bad, where for 6 years, Walter White took me on a journey that I didn't always know where it was going. But I'm so glad I went.
Oh, cool. Has there been a project that learning your dialogue was particularly difficult?
Often there is. If you're doing a medical show where you have the jargon, that you need to learn. You don't quite understand it. You try to understand it. And it's tricky words that normal people don't use every day. Those are difficult. There's a Wes Anderson movie out right now called Asteroid City that I'm in. And my character in that had some very tricky dialogue. There were several names that had to be spoken really quickly. And they're tricky names. They're not names that you've heard a lot before. And so I had to just really focus in on learning it and trying to get a sense of the pattern in my head. And that's the trick to memorization. It's twofold. It's repetition, going over it and over it and over it, but it's also connecting the words you're speaking to an intellectual thought or to an emotion, something that connects you, something that makes you feel, for lack of a better word, connected to, so that when you say one word, it's almost like the trapeze artist. As he swings on the bar, there's the one he hands off to, and one line hands off to the next line, hands off to the next line, hands off to the next line. And once you get into that rhythm, then the memorization gets locked in to yourself, and it becomes easier.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm so excited to see Asteroid City. I've been so excited to watch that movie, so I can't wait to see it.
Good.
So you've also been on Broadway. What was the best part of doing live theater?
I think for most actors who do live theater, it's that connection you have with the audience. It is a thrill to go out there every night and have an idea of what you want to do, but you're a human being and things change. It's possible that you didn't sleep well the night before, or that you ate something that gave you a little stomach issue, or maybe you have a cold, you have to sneeze, and you have to, so you're bringing humanity onto stage with you every night, and you then have to cope with that. You have to learn how to deal with that. You may have gotten thrillingly wonderful news, and your character is a little happier that performance. Or conversely, you could have gotten bad news and you're a little sadder or quieter or not as effervescent. And the other thing about working on Broadway or live theater is the relationship you have with the audience. There really is such a thing. It's like the ebb and flow of an ocean wave. It comes to the shore and then it recedes. It comes back to the shore, then recedes. And that's kind of a relationship an actor has. You deliver a line of dialogue that the audience will take in and maybe have an emotional reaction to. That is a turning point in the play. And you can feel the gasps. You can feel maybe a sense of awe, or they're startled by what I just said or something, and you can feel it. And then that feeling is them sending back the message to you that they got it. And then you move on to the next beat and then to the next beat. It's like when you tell a story to other people, you're looking into their eyes and you're making sure that they're following the story. Because if they're not following the story, they're not going to get the punchline to your joke or the meaning of your story. So it's really important to keep checking in with them as you're telling a story or a joke to make sure they're following it so that it has the end result that you're hoping for.
Oh, cool. What is your favorite Broadway show?
I think my favorite musical is Les Miserables. I've seen it many, many times, and it's so moving. It's so human. It's romantic. It's heroic. I think it just encapsulates the best of what a musical should be, and that's exciting. And I haven't done one since I was 21 years old and doing summer theater in summer stock, long time ago. And I look forward to soon, hopefully, to actually get on stage and be in a musical.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm slightly obsessed with Broadway. So,
What's your favorite musical?
that's hard. There's so many.
Yeah.
I love Spring Awakening.
Great one.
Yeah.
Really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when I come to this Broadway musical, you'll have to come out to see it.
I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put aside a couple tickets for you. You just get yourself to New York and we'll see it.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, okay, my next question is actually about Asteroid City. What was it like being part of a Wes Anderson project and being part of such an incredible ensemble cast?
It's what you would imagine, I think. It's for actors, we're so transient. Historically, actors would go from town to town and try to do a performance and pick up a few shillings and a few coins in the hat. And then the sheriff would run the actors out of town, as vagrants. And we go to the next town and do a little show and try to pick up a few more coins. It's changed somewhat, but in truth, actors still have to go out of town often to do their work, and we long for that kind of community. So when Wes called to ask me to be a part of Asteroid City, I of course jumped at it, and we shot the movie in Spain, which is already exotic. And all the actors and all the key crew members stayed at one hotel, the same resort. So we were very comfortable and we were insulated. So there were no outside people staying at the hotel while we were there. It was only this production company for this movie. So it felt like we can be ourselves. We didn't have to be careful about the paparazzi or the press listening to some gossip that might be. It's like we felt very comfortable. And every night, Wes would host a dinner. Every single night. He'd only worked about 8 hours a day or so, maybe 9. And then we'd have this big dinner at night and wonderful meals and wine and discussion. And it really gave us an opportunity to sit down and really talk to actors that we had worked with before, some we hadn't worked with before, and really get to know them better and know about their families and their partners, their children and their aspirations and their fears. And it was really a lovely time. And that's the Wes Anderson experience for an actor. It's very familial.
Oh, that's so cool. So you've had a long and successful career. What has been the biggest lesson that you've learned throughout your career?
I think, I don't know if it was a lesson, it was an affirmation. The affirmation that if you can make a living as an actor, or an artist of any kind, you are really, really fortunate. Don't take it for granted. It can end at any time. No one owes you anything, and be very, very grateful of what you were able to do in this life. I never forget that. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I walk around wherever I am, whatever city I'm in, and I see people doing real work, real jobs. And I look at that and I go, how did I get so lucky that I don't have to dig a ditch for a living, or I don't have to work in a cubicle, or I don't have to be on a skyscraper washing windows on the outside? Like, wow. So you look around you and you see people doing really hard labor, real work. And I'm so fortunate that it doesn't feel like work to me. I love it so. And I know that if I ever get to the point where I'm not in love with what I do for a living, is the day that I retire.
Yeah, I like that advice. Yeah. So, who is your biggest role model?
I think, even though he's about 4 or 5 months younger than me, I would guess, I think Tom Hanks has made the biggest impression upon my career. I've known him for 35 years. He's not only wonderfully talented, but he's wonderfully human. And he really, I've worked with him many times on his movies and other movies that we were in together, including Asteroid City. And I would say that he really, unbeknown, he wasn't being didactic. He didn't say, listen to me, here's the way you should behave when you're on it. He just behaved the way he behaved. And if you're observant and you're watching how people behave, I remember thinking when I first worked with him before I had any celebrity, I was just a working actor. I thought, if I ever become a celebrity, if I ever gain fame in this business and was the lead actor on a show or a movie or whatever, I would behave like Tom Hanks behaves, where he's respectful of everyone on the set, both the crew and the cast. He always has a good time. He always does his work. He is always on time, knows his lines, does his homework, has ideas, comes prepared. And then when you're done work, he wants to go home. And it's like, that was a great day. We did this great work. We were all mutually respectful and had a lot of fun. And now we go home to our partners. That's a perfect day. And so I think by watching him behave naturally the way he is, it just taught me, oh, okay, well, that's the template to follow.
Oh, cool. So what would the theme song of your life be?
Theme song of my life. What would it be? Mr. Lucky. Think of a song that has those lyrics in it, because that's the way it feels.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't come from a background or an upbringing where success was even part of the conversation. We didn't have a lot of money. There was an attitude and a mood in my family where it was very, very blue collar. If you can find a job that you can tolerate, hold on to that job for the rest of your life. And it was like, that seemed sad in a way, And my family never really had training or ambition to figure out how to make money, but they knew how to stretch a dollar. They knew how to make a dollar last long, and there's value in that for sure. It gave me a strong work ethic and a desire not to waste anything, not to waste money, be grateful for it. And that I don't have any interest, really. It doesn't motivate me. Money doesn't motivate me. Creativity motivates me. And I was just fortunate that as a byproduct, I was able to become financially secure because of what I love to do. But I never focused on it. As far as the song, I'm going to leave that up to you, Maya. You can make up a song. Call it Mr. Lucky.
Okay, I will. Yeah. Yeah, I actually love to write songs, so I will go write a song about that.
Fantastic.
So what has been the best moment of your career so far?
Well, I think it has to do with my personal life more than my professional life, because I think it's being able to have balance in your life is the key. My wife and I have been married for 34 years, and we're still in love with each other. We have a beautiful daughter who's now 30, and we adore her. And we've been able to maintain that relationship all the way through the crazy twists and turns of an acting career, which separates us often. I have to go off to Europe and shoot a movie, or South America, or wherever I am. And we have to keep arranging to reconnect. And it takes effort and planning and desire. And so fortunately, we've been able to make that work. And that's probably what I'm most grateful for, because it encompasses my professional life with my personal life.
Oh, I love that. So my final question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Wow. A real life superhero. That's a big question. A big question. Who would I? It would have to be someone. God, that's a really great question. Who would it be? It would have to be someone who does work in an altruistic way. You know, someone who is thinking of others and how to service others. And so, you know, I'm going to say there's an organization called FarmLink. It's run by young, smart, I would say kids, but they're not kids. They're young adults after college. And they put together a system of getting food from farms to people who need it. Just a delivery system, so that bushels of corn or eggs or milk or whatever that farmers have doesn't spoil because transportation issues, or they didn't happen to sell this bushel, and so they take this and they're able to link the food that's in excess to the people who need the food. And that's just brilliant. Number one, it's altruistic. It's helping our society. And if we can figure out how to have a system like that throughout the world, I mean, that's a real game changer. That it feels very uneven that there's such an excess amount of food in one area and such a lack of food in another, that in this day and age, people are actually still starving to death. Doesn't seem right. It's not right. So how can we mitigate that? How can we bridge the two of the excess food to the people who need the food? So FarmLink is a young company that does that. It's a charity, and it's beautiful. So those guys would be my real life heroes.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I love that. Well, that was my final question for you, and I would love to just keep talking to you. So I just want to say again, thank you so much for calling in, and I already have ideas about your song, so I'll go write that.
Oh, good. Mr. Lucky, Mr. Lucky.
Yeah.
That's great. Bryan, thanks for
Very
making the time today.
Yeah.
So amazing. And you have a
Yes,
standing
thank
invitation
you.
to our Seacrest studio anytime you're here in the Denver area in Colorado. Just, come on in.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, too. Have a wonderful weekend. And
you.
Maya, it was
You
great
too.
to meet you. And thanks for the interview. And I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank
Great.
you. I had the best time talking with you, so thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
And I can't
All right,
wait to
guys.
see your Broadway musical, so.
It's coming. It's coming soon.
All right. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
everybody.
you.